Welcome to Experience English. In today's video lesson, we're going to talk about something we're all doing these days, social media. I'm going to read through a natural speaking dialogue where the speakers are speaking in a somewhat natural, informal way. This will give you a chance to practice your listening, reading, pronunciation, and learn new vocabularies. I recommend you use headphones if you can. So, let's get started. After I read through the dialogue, I will go through the lines in detail and explain the highlighted vocabularies and phrases and introduce new words. You can try to repeat the words as we go to practice pronunciation. Hi Kelly, how's it going? Not bad, Jim. What have you been up to today? Oh, mostly hanging out on Facebook. I'm looking for a used scooter on Marketplace. Really? I find Marketplace useful for buying and selling, but I'm trying to limit my time on social media these days. Okay, so let's check out the vocabularies. You can see at the top, what have you been up to today? Been up to. Been up to is just another way of saying, what have you been doing? What have you been up to lately? Oh, not too much. So it's a common phrase to ask people what their activities have been lately. What have they been doing lately? The next highlighted vocabulary is hanging out. Oh, mostly hanging out on Facebook. Hanging out just means spending time at or on. Sometimes we say, I'm hanging out with friends tonight, meaning I'm going to hang out with friends. So hanging out is a way we can say we're spending time at something like even social media, where it's a community of friends and people we know. So even though we're not hanging around with them in person, we can still use the phrase hanging out on Facebook. It basically acts the same way as saying hanging out with friends, or hanging out at the pub, or hanging out at the mall. Let's keep going to the next set of dialogue. I'm also trying to limit my time, but it can be addictive. I find myself scrolling endlessly sometimes. Me too. I think it has a positive role though, since I can catch up on world events and news. It certainly has a large impact on public opinion. I notice more often things are getting flagged. Seems Facebook and Twitter are censoring more than before. Going back over the vocabularies, I'm also trying to limit my time, but it can be addictive. So addictive basically means habit forming. Things that are addictive like cigarettes. I think we all kind of understand that using our smartphones and social media can be addictive. Jim goes on to say scrolling endlessly. Scrolling just means looking down the timeline of your Facebook page or TikTok or Twitter or what have you. Kelly says, me too. I think it has a positive role though, since I can catch up on world events and news. World events just means global events, global news. It certainly has a large impact on public opinion. Impact is effect or influence. So it has a large impact on public opinion, meaning it has a large effect on public opinion. I notice more often things are getting flagged. It seems Facebook and Twitter are censoring more than before. Flag just means identified. Sometimes we say red flag. Red flag's like a warning. But when we're talking about social media, something gets flagged means it gets identified by the platform. And the platform sometimes will put a disclaimer saying that this information might not be correct or accurate. Moving to the next set of dialogue. Jim says, I noticed that as well. It seems they are concerned with being aligned with official narratives and alternative views are being censored. When did Facebook start? I've only had my account for a few years. Zuckerberg started it in 2004 as a social networking platform. It now has almost 3 billion users. Wow, I was only 2 years old. Things sure have changed. So going back over the vocabularies, at the top we see the word aligned. Aligned means agreement. The same, in harmony. Next, Jim mentions official narratives. Official narrative means story. So we can say official narratives means mainstream story or official news. Next, we see networking platform. Networking platform just means an exchange organization. Sometimes we talk about networking in terms of business. A business network means the associates or people that we network with in order to generate business or to have business relationships. But we can also talk about networks in a personal way in terms of our friendships and people we know or associate with. So let's do a quick review of the vocabularies. At the top we see been up to, which just means doing. What have you been up to today? What have you been doing today? Hanging out, spending time. Hanging out with friends, hanging out on social media. Addictive, something that is habit forming. Scrolling is looking. World events are just global events. Impact is effect. Flagged, identified. Aligned means agreement. Official narrative, mainstream story. Networking platform, it's a social exchange organization. Okay everyone, that's it for the first part of our social media conversation lesson. Next week we will continue and finish the dialogue between Jim and Kelly. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments section. I'm George and I will see you next time.